I'm calling the Planning Commission meeting to order. Can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Aspinall.
Here.
Brickner. Here. Connigan.
Here.
Motion. Here.
Lindquist.
Here.
Matty.
Here.
Stimson.
Here.
And Chair Treflet.
Here. Thank you. Can I get an approval for the agenda as written?
Move. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. First item on the agenda is special approval 6610-2025. The location is 3336 8 Mile. It is proposed to construct a new utility building and pump station within the RA1 one-family residential district. This is a special approval use. Proponents? Nobody's here from the water department? You are? Please give your name to the secretary and your business address.
Hello, my name is Clayton Johnson. I work for Brown & Caldwell. We are the design engineer for the Great Lakes Water Authority for the Newburgh Pump Station project. George Nicholas is the project manager for Great Lakes Water Authority. He is also here. I'll give a brief overview of the project, if that's okay with everyone.
Yes.
We're proposing to construct a 52 million gallon per day capacity booster pumping station that includes yard piping, a standby generator, switchyard for the Great Lakes Water Authority to help. It will be replacing an existing pump station that's kind of near across the street from the new proposed pump station. It's on the corner of Metro View Road and 8 Mile Road. That Great Lakes Water Authority looked into rehabbing the existing pumping station. They did a condition assessment based on the pump station. It's very old, over 50 years old. And based on the condition assessment, the capacity, the number of pumps, the piping, and the age of all of the equipment, it was more cost effective to build a new pump station in a different location. And they can't build the new pump station in the existing location because they have to have the new pump station operational before the old pump station can be taken out of service. So that's the reason for a new pump station that needs to be constructed. Construction is tentatively scheduled to begin in the fall of 2026. So we're at about 100% design now. It will be, the plan would be to bid an award early next year and then begin construction 2.5 to 3 year period for construction of the project. Any questions on the overview?
How tall is that fence around the building?
8 feet.
Okay. Cameras for security?
Yes, yep, there'll be cameras along the building. There'll be minimal lighting. The lighting will be at each of the doors around the building, above the doors, but there will not be site lighting or parking lot lights or anything like of that nature. And we do have a photometric plan that will be submitted. I know there's some comments on the lighting, and we'll submit a photometric plan to show all of that that we comply with the code requirements for that.
Any questions? No? Barry? Any questions?
No.
I'm shocked. Joe? No? Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing. You can sit down. Thank you.
Yep. We will be applying for some variances.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay, I'll talk about that.
You going to do it?
Yeah, thanks. Joe Tangary, Giffords Webster. Just going to go through our review of the site plan, and that might lead naturally into a discussion of some of the variances he's going to talk about. So I won't rehash what he told you. I'll just get into the meat of our letter. When we look at the dimensional standards of the RA1 district, a portion of this building does exceed the height limit of that district, 34.5 feet versus 30 feet. So that is something that needs to be discussed here. We got that number by averaging the peak and the eave of the upper roof. There is a dumpster location shown in the interior side yard. There doesn't seem to be an enclosure proposed, though. Typically, we would require an enclosure for a dumpster. All the ground-mounted equipment that's outside the building is contained within obscuring walls, so that meets our standards. This isn't a constantly staffed facility. So they're showing 14 parking spaces on the plan. I think it's worth discussing with them why there are 14 spaces and what those will be used for and how often. We didn't have dimensions on the parking spaces either on the plan, so we weren't able to check that. There is a landscape plan. We had the location of existing trees, but not a tree replacement plan or a tree inventory. All the trees on the site are going to be removed. And the tree requirement for the parking lot also wasn't provided because we didn't have the paved area. There is significant landscaping meeting our standards in the front and west side yard on berms. One thing I did want to note is that there was no screening proposed along the north property line. That is where the property abuts a residential property. There's a house right there. Typically, we'd require a wall in that location. A green belt could potentially be approved in lieu of a wall. There's a detention basin in the eastern yard, so that yard is also not landscaped. And as I said, we do need that tree removal plan. The fence on the east side of the property is encroaching into the 40-foot setback. Typically, those are required to be outside of the setback on a street-facing yard. And then, as noted, we didn't have a photometric plan when the plan was originally reviewed. We understand that they've developed one and that they're not actually proposing much lighting, but that will ultimately need to be reviewed for compliance with these standards that are in the letter. Otherwise, we didn't find too many issues, but that's the summary of what we found when we looked at the plan, and those are the things that need to be addressed in some fashion tonight. Do you have any questions for me?
Dale?
So I don't know if it's for you or for the attorney. Is this a public facility? Is this sponsored by the Great Lakes?
Great Lakes Water Authority, yes,
Okay. So, and the standards are the same?
correct, because it's not a city facility.
Okay. So the city's not sponsoring or coordinating it or whatever? Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. Now I'm going to open the public hearing. If there's anyone who wants to comment on this project, come on up here to the microphone and give your name and address to the clerk, please.
My name is William Ferguson, and 20841 Metroview. So I'm the property you were just talking about that it butts up to. I heard you talking about the green space, so I just want to respectfully ask that you leave as many trees there as you can. I mean, some of them are on my property, which you can't touch, but leave as much there because, yeah, on that house right there. And see, like where the driveway is, you can see there's a bit of trees there. If you can leave as much there as you can, that would be good. I think you talked about a fence. I don't know, I was confused if you're putting a fence there or a greenway, but just, I live on an acre, it's a nice property, and I want it to be that way and not look at a building. And then the other thing you talked about, the lights, just if you have the light shining at your own building, not on my property, that's all I ask.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last chance. Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. back to the, you have a question now?
I have a couple of, we're supposed to ask the proponent a couple of questions, I think.
And if you look at our review letter, item 16 on the last page of the letter summarizes all the discussion items. So there are the informational items, the tree removal plan, the photometric plan, precise setbacks, and parking space dimensions. Then there's the discretionary items, waiving the fenestration requirement in our design standards. And then along the northern property line, what form of screening you're going
Right.
to discuss there, and then the dumpster enclosure, the fence encroaching into the required yard on Metro View, and the building height exceeding 30 feet.
So let's start with, why are all of the trees being removed?
All the trees are being removed to make space for the parking lot and the building. We do, and this is one of the items that will be addressed. We'll be replacing all of the trees or putting the money towards a fund to replace those trees.
Which we were supposed to ask, why do you need 14 parking spaces?
That's a good question. It is an unmanned facility, but there will be times when operations folks will have to be on site, or there might be a gathering for some maintenance or construction type activities. That should be very infrequently. It'll all be operated, the pump station will be operated remotely through a supervisory control data acquisition system that the Great Lakes Water Authority uses. So it will not, they have many facilities that are unmanned, but there will be times where people will need to be on site.
I understand there's going to be minimal activity there. There's not going to be a lot of noise from this pump either?
No,
Nobody asked about that, but if I was living next door, I would.
there's a standby generator, emergency generator that will be operated, exercised once.
Every house has one of those.
Yeah, this is.
Go ahead.
This is a larger one, but it'll be in a soundproof attenuated enclosure as well. So that will help mitigate.
But otherwise, the pump itself does not make a lot of noise?
That's correct. Yep, within the building, and there will be sound attenuation within the building, sound attenuation panels interior to the building.
And I know we do have sound ordinances, and I'm sure you will
Yeah.
exceed them, because then you'd have to turn the pump off.
No.
Okay, and I'd like to talk about the fence that encroaches on the east side, because it's on the other side of the stormwater management basin. Now, a stormwater management basin, to me, is normally empty. So why can't the fence be on the other side of the stormwater management basin and within the setback that we require?
That is something we will look into that. We weren't aware of the 40-foot setback requirement for the fence. So that was something that we'll look into further, but we possibly could move that fence inside of between the building and the stormwater basin.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see that. I think those were the questions I was supposed to ask.
Yes, Eric?
Yes, will you be storing any, there won't be any vehicles or anything else in the parking spaces?
That's correct. Only when folks are visiting the site for operations.
And then there'll be just personal vehicles that,
Or Great Lakes.
Small, light vehicles that individuals are driving that work for the authority?
Correct. When there are maintenance activities, there might be a large flatbed truck. We have designed the site for a 72-foot truck that could come in and go to the roll-up door and move a pump out if necessary. But should be minimal for those activities.
So what happens to the old site?
The old site is actually going to be turned into kind of an operation center, or the old pump station will be demolished. There will be, it'll kind of be flattened out, but will still use it operationally. Great Lakes Water Authority will use it.
Yes.
I have a question in regards to the parking spaces. How did you come up with the number 14 spaces?
14, we tried to provide as many as possible. The Great Lakes Water Authority wanted to they've had issues at other sites where they don't have much parking even for unmanned facilities, and then when they do have an event or a maintenance And a lot of people have to get there or be there. They don't have space on site for the park. So we tried to put as many spaces as we could that was feasible and still give the trucks a turnaround room.
Okay, and the reason I asked that because your neighbor is asking for trees to maintain, and you said that you needed, the reason the trees are coming down because you need the parking space.
Yes.
Is there any way somehow to compromise and give your neighbor?
I don't know that we can look into that, but I don't know that we can add more trees or decrease the parking because of the truck turnaround and the pavement for that.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there something about the fire department wanted?
Turn radius.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why you need the other road. I forgot to ask about the height,
Yes.
because you're sort of going to be asking for a variance or some such thing. You know, why does this have to be just a few feet higher than our ordinance?
For the, there's an overhead bridge crane that goes within the main pump room. That's the higher portion. There's two kind of levels. One's kind of the electrical room, and you have innovation room, mechanical room. And then the other building is the actual pump room, the long length, 200 feet or so. The 34.5 feet is a pitched roof, but it's also to have clearance for the bridge crane that can come in and move the pumps in and out for maintenance. So there has to be enough clearance for the bridge crane between the pumps that are existing and moving them out.
It's my understanding we're not going to grant you that variance. That has to come from the zoning board of appeals, but
Okay.
you're going to need a reason.
Yeah. Yes,
So,
yep.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Is this is a gated entry?
Yes, it will be, yep.
And how does one get into it then? Yeah.
They'll have to have a badge through the Great Lakes Water Authority to enter the facility. The front gate will be an automated gate, and the back gate on Metroview Road will be a manual gate that someone would have to unlock a lock.
Okay. Well, and the reason I ask, if this building catches on fire and the fire department's locked out on 8 Mile, that's not good.
Yes,
How are you going to resolve that?
that is a good question.
I'll give you,
There is a-
I'll give you a hint. There's a device out there. When you hit a siren, hit the siren on your truck, it opens, it reacts to it. The fire marshal can tell you more about it,
Okay,
but you might want to think about it.
thank you.
I got John.
Steve?
Yeah, so I guess for Joe, one of the items here is it either has to be a wall or a green space. We can't accept the fence without a green space.
There would need to be something, yeah, because
So
there's,
I'm not seeing that here, so that,
right.
if they can't do either, then they've got to ask for a variance for that as well.
Yeah, because there has to be some sort of screening effect there, yeah.
If, one item we've looked into since we've received the comments would be shrubs or shorter trees. There are overhead electrical lines between kind of that property too, and then communication wires below that. So if we could put some type of screening, whether that's shrubs or something of that nature, that's what we're looking into possibly do.
Is there room there? I mean, I'm looking at this, that between the fence and the property line, I don't see where there's room. Are you thinking that you're moving that fence slightly in to do that?
That is a possibility. We'd prefer not to, but if we do have to make some space to provide some screening, yep, we might have to do that.
I'll just say, this looks like a large building. It's much bigger than that house. In a residential area, it absolutely has to be screened.
Okay.
Yeah. Even regardless of what the ordinance says.
John? Yes. I would ask the proponent, could you discuss the necessity of this pump station for the community?
Yes. Yeah, it serves, it provides water from the West Service Center, which is further east of this location. It boosts the pressures and flows to the surrounding areas, City of Farmington Hills, Livonia, and other areas. It is necessary in order to maintain pressures within the distribution system and provide the flows, and also the pressure for fire flows as required if there were a fire event as well.
So it's east, north of Farmington Hills areas, Livonia, is that the general area?
Yeah, yep, it's a 52 billion gallon per day facility, so it's a good sized facility as far as pumping goes to pump out to the surrounding areas.
Thank you.
Yes, Steve?
Just out of curiosity, how's this gonna hook in? Are the pipes under 8 Mile Road? Because the other pumping station's on the other side.
Yeah.
So the existing lines are under 8 Mile, so 8 Mile's gonna have to be torn up at some point?
Yes, yep. The lines are on the south side of 8 Mile Road, you're right. Yep. So we'll have to,
Is that an open cut or a bore or?
open cut, yeah. And there's a maintenance of traffic plan, yes, it's going to be an undertaking for,
Because that's with the state too, then.
what's that?
Well, 8 Mile being a state road, that has to be coordinated with the state then.
Yeah, yeah, Wayne County and those folks, we've been coordinating with them, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
It notes here that you have to show proof that is able to handle a 100-year flow into the system without overflowing. Has that?
Is that the stormwater management basement?
Yeah.
Yes, we will provide, we have additional information, provide calculations for all the stormwater system, and we have all that information. We'll submit that supplementally. But that has all been looked into and calculated.
Yes, Barry?
Just out of curiosity, that pump station in Livonia right now services Farmington Hills, correct? You're just moving it across the street.
That's right.
So there's not a pipe already going from Livonia into Farmington Hills to service Farmington Hills, you need a bigger pipe.
No, not large enough to do what, to feed off. We have to tap into the 42-inch transmission main that's just south of 8 Mile Road.
You're gonna tear up 8 Mile Road, that'll make everybody happy.
I know. Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So maybe this is to Joe. So special approval use, we approve a site plan, we approve the use. That's the plan, including the site plan?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. This use is allowed in a residential district?
Yes. It's not like this specific use, but there's a category that covers this. Public utility uses.
Anybody else?
Could I ask a question about the wall? I'm sorry, the property on the north end, which is displayed on the screen, can they put a wall instead of the fence and that meet the screening conditions?
A wall is one of the ways that they can screen that property, yeah.
I think the code says a green belt or a wall.
Yeah.
So they could replace the fence with a wall if they can't fit the green belt plantings.
That is one of their options, yeah.
Yes, Barry?
Well, I know this is a special use in residential, but it's not residential. From what Diane is saying, don't they require well, it's a green belt or a wall, they have to have something to protect the residential next door. And usually it's done by a brick or concrete wall separating the non-residential use. I know it's an allowed use, but it's not being used as a resident from a residential property where the gentleman over here was there, then yeah, that's a requirement, I thought.
Yeah, you have to have something. So a wall or a
Fence
green
doesn't
belt.
meet
The fence wouldn't meet the requirement because it doesn't have the opacity to meet the screening requirement.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
For me, given the necessity of this facility and the fact that it's on the south side of 8 Mile and serves Livonia and surrounding communities, Farmington Hills as well, and given the fact that there are, we're talking about some compatibility and harmonious issues, I think through site improvement, development, we should be able to address most of those issues as it relates to the neighbors to the north, as it relates to lights, screening the facility, reducing noise from the facility. It's not a high-impact facility unless there's maintenance, and then spaces are provided in order to facilitate people to get on the site to work on it. Certainly, we wouldn't want folks parked in 8 Mile Road to address an important facility. So I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
To move this along. I move that application for special approval site plan 6610-2025 dated September 20, 2025, as revised, submitted by Brown and Caldwell, be approved because it meets all the standards of special approval use set forth in section 34.6.3. The approval is subject to the following conditions and determinations. Conditions and determinations. All outstanding issues identified in the Gibson Webster's November 19, 2025 review shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the city planner. All outstanding issues identified by the city engineer's November 6, 2025 interoffice correspondence shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the city engineer. And all outstanding issues identified in the city marshal's October 30th, 2025 interoffice correspondence shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the fire marshal. And that, I guess the following issues were, as identified in the review, will require variance of the zoning board of appeals. One, including the 8-foot high fence proposed in the front yard requires a variance from the zoning board of appeals. A green belt / wall, whichever we, I guess we decide, is required along the north property line, along the north property line, the abutting residential district. I'd like to continue with my motion and go back to that issue. Next, proposed building height over 30 feet requires a variance from the zoning board of appeals. Dumpster enclosure that meets section 34.512D is required to be constructed unless there's a variance to that requirement. A total of 14 parking spaces provided is adequate for the proposed use. And a tree replacement plan is required. A photometric plan is required and must comply with standards contained in section 34.516. And the building materials proposed are generally consistent with the architectural objectives of design standards in section 34.5.20, and relief from commercial design standards related to ground floor window coverage is granted. On that one, is that our call or is that the ZBA? That's Planning Commission's call? Okay, so we got the issue of the materials and the wall or green belt. So that's my motion.
I didn't hear you address the setback for the fence on the east side.
Good catch. Right, good catch.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if the proponent can either move it to meet the setback, or that's an item that he's going to have to probably go to ZBA to get.
Yeah, you picked that up in number 4.
Oh, I did pick it up.
They're both front yards, the east and the north side of the property, because they're both abutting a street.
Okay, so it's covered, for the record.
So through the chair, the only one that I think you need to actually pick one on is number 5. Do you want a green belt or do you want a wall?
I think the problem is they're proposing a fence, and that wouldn't go along well with a green belt.
The green belt's on the other side of the fence.
I understand that, but still there's gonna be a fence.
Yeah.
An 8-foot fence. Usually,
So, can I get a second on my motion for discussion?
No one has seconded yet.
I thought you wanted to do the discussion.
Well, probably
Second, how's that?
yeah, second and discuss it.
Barry, second.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
In favor of a green belt on the other side of the fence.
I guess the proponent, could that be done? Can the green belt be done? Could we?
Green belt, which is shrubs, planters, things of that nature, okay. Yeah, let us, we could definitely look into that, do some type of screening on that side of it.
Barry, are you okay with green belt?
I just wondered what it's going to really only affect one person. I just
Right,
wonder what his-
I'm looking over there.
Maybe
I
ask
mean,
the
would you prefer a
neighbor-
green
the-
belt
the
or a
neighbor.
fence? A wall?
You have a
What would the
preference?
neighbor feel? How would the neighbor?
Green belt, natural as you can. I mean, if I can just leave
That's,
the trees there.
that's, right. That was my sense. He wanted to save trees and keep it green, and we should be able to figure that out, right?
It's actually a very, if you look at my property, it's a very narrow set of trees.
part of it's on my property and part of it's on that. So it's not like it's a forest. It's just a very narrow.
They can't touch trees that are on your property,
He already said that, yeah.
so.
Yeah, so my motion was, let's try to establish a green belt. Let's see if staff can work it out with the proponent to the satisfaction of the neighbor to get the green belt that everybody agrees to. And then the last issue was building materials. So what do we got to say?
Just the window coverage doesn't meet the design standards, and there are reasons for that, of course. And you have the ability to waive
Right,
that
I
window
would
coverage
waive it,
requirement.
given the necessity of the utility and what they're doing. Motion to waive it. Oh,
Yes?
So just through the chair, fine with the idea of your green belt with the fence and work it out with the staff. But the language included to the satisfaction of the neighbor, which we can't include.
okay.
It's to the satisfaction of the staff, who will consult with whomever they should.
Right. The spirit of my motion is try to satisfy the neighbor to the north, to the extent we can.
Any other discussion? Okay.
So could you repeat the motion?
No,
All right.
I think Cheryl's got it.
Who do you think asked me to ask that question?
So what do you- So, yes, so item number 5, we're,
Five.
yeah, that's what I said, 5. We agreed on the green belt versus wall. I think that was the only change. And last, number 11, we said that we will waive the standard for, given the use.
Got it.
All right, we're done? We're good. Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Cheryl?
In order of seating, Commissioner Stimson,
Yay.
Conigan,
Yes?
Aspinall,
Yes.
Lindquist,
Aye.
Grant. Yes. Brickner. Yes. Manti.
I thought it was a well-crafted motion, and I'm happy to support it.
And Chair Treflet.
Yes.
Thanks, Joe. Stumbled through that.
Okay. You have a little work to do.
Yep. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is special approval for 27900 Orchard Lake Road, construct a new fast food restaurant with drive-through within the B3 district. Who is the proponent of this?
Good evening. My name's Reed Cooksey with Stonefield Engineering Design, here to represent the applicant Brewtopia. For you tonight, as it was stated, is an application to redevelop the site off of Orchard Lake Road. It's the old Arby's site there. It's been vacant for a little bit now. What we're trying to do is remove the existing fast food user and implement a new coffee kiosk model. Some of you guys may have heard of Seven Brew, some of you guys may have not. They're rapidly expanding across the country with over 500 locations nationwide now, and they're coming into Southeast Michigan. What Seven Brew is, it's a very interesting, modern way to get your daily coffee. I think everybody's pretty familiar with Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons, and kind of how busy that can be because of all their offerings. And what Seven Brew does, and they do very well, is to simplify that process. They only do drinks, and they do it very well. So what that allows them to do is to have industry-leading throughput times. From order to delivery is generally in under 2.5 minutes. So what that allows us to do is to have very predictable traffic on and off the site, as well as get people through the site more rapidly, because without the food offerings and large menu, it helps simplify the process. So with that being said, what we have here is a 510 square foot building with a 200 square foot cooler, external cooler. The customer will come on site, and there's 2 ways to order. There's no menu board, there's nothing like that. You can either scan a QR code and order off your phone, or I say this because I think everyone's familiar with it, the more Chick-fil-A method where the employee is outside with an iPad, takes your order, and allows you to go. There's also no pickup window. Those are double doors there if you look at the elevation, and the employees walk the drinks out to you. So it doesn't matter where you are in the queue, when your order is ready, you're able to leave as soon as it's ready to go. So you can make deliveries from either lane with the bypass as well. As for parking, as you can see, we have 6 spaces. This is just for employees, as we do not have internal or outside operations. I know we'll talk about that, was in the letter. But what this allows us to do is, because modern coffee users are increasingly just on the go, they're really trying to hone in on that person. I'm sure everybody has done a mobile order at a Starbucks or something like that. Very rarely are people sitting down, and I see a couple shaking heads. I'm also not a coffee drinker, Joe, so we can talk about that after the meeting. But what that allows you to do is, what it allows is taking the model where so many times you have these more antiquated users that are trying to modernize on the fly. They're trying to do mobile order pickup lanes. They're trying to have a designated coffee making station inside. And what we've really done is kind of put that and really just focused on that and not try to be something we aren't. With the operations, you can see the one-way circulation through the site. This allows us to efficiently orient the traffic. There's no traffic jams or queuing issues. Our site currently sits as a fast food restaurant, and what we're doing is we're taking that old dilapidated site and we're removing it and we're putting in additional green space and additional items on a commercial corridor to give it a nice little facelift. Other things to note with the outdoor cooler, again, we only do drinks, so we have a very low demand for utilities with outdoor coolers where we keep the frozen items. And there's a canopy that goes between the main restaurant and cooler space for keeping the employees dry if it's raining outside. With that, I don't know if you want me to go through some of the comments in the letter, or if you guys want to ask them yourselves, but I'd be happy to talk through some of the review items and kind of how we're going to address those concerns.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
If everything is set up and it's running perfectly and all the people showed up to work their jobs, how many cars an hour can you run through there?
So we've done plenty of studies where even in our peak times, so that's at 7:30 to 8:30 time window in the mornings, we only need 16 stacking spaces just because of how quickly we get cars on and off the site. Like I said, it's about 2.5 to 3 minutes is get from order to delivery and off the site. I don't have an exact, if we just had a peak time throughout the day, but, we can get, upwards of 80 cars through in that peak hour pretty efficiently.
John?
Yes.
So I get the circulation and the bypass lane. If you're on the interior lane and you got quite a bit of business, if you're on the interior lane, you're stuck, you can't get to the bypass lane, is that correct?
That would be correct, but again, we don't really have too many issues because cars are getting off the site so quickly. I mean, there is a chance that, you're stuck behind somebody for an additional 30 seconds after you got in your drink, but, they're pretty good about getting them out.
Okay, and so I'm just trying to understand the geometry here at the stop, with the 2-lane stop.
Yep.
It seems like I get, the circulation in and out. It seems like that interior lane, it's going to be forced into head-on with people coming in. So my question is that exterior stop, is that too far forward, or should it be placed back further so there's actually some movement? You know what I'm saying? So you're not forcing cars that are
there's a little bit of, there's some space before you get to the one-way lane. The width there is actually for two-way traffic, so it does have the adequate width for cars coming in and out.
Okay.
Obviously, there's going to be, right here. That inside lane taking a right out, that's where the stop signs kind of come in. But the one thing with having a pretty consistent flow of delivery is we really rarely have 2 cars trying to leave at the same time because, drinks are coming out in a very...
Yeah, I'm just picturing a car on the exterior stopped and the car on the interior stopped, then released, the guy in the interior released with somebody's coming in off Orchard Lake Road.
Yeah.
he's gonna have to go around the outside lane. And so I don't know what the measurements is. I'm not a traffic engineer or whatever, but it
Nope,
just looks like it looks like it pinched down a little bit there.
We'll look into that and make sure that there's adequate space and work with the city engineers and put some turn movements together.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, the question we have to ask is, where's the beef?
No.
I'm an Arby's fan myself, but
You know, my office is about a half a mile up there, and all of a sudden I drove by and Arby's was closed.
yeah, that was a decision of the ownership there.
Then I saw that there was plans.
Yeah, we didn't force them out. They were shopping it around,
I saw
unfortunately.
Seven Brew, I thought it was a beer place, but that's besides the point.
Now we've got some thinkers on this side.
So I guess the big question is that they need 1,100 square feet in order to have a drive-through, and so it's gonna have to go through, I guess that's the question for you when that comes to it.
Yeah.
Then I'll wait for.
You don't have windows that you can walk up to and order coffee then, only from the car?
So there are some prototypes that do have a pickup window. It is an option in some of these colder climates and on these busier roads that aren't more pedestrian oriented. They don't go with that prototype just because they don't see a lot of use for it. But
Okay, all right, thank you. John? Yes, Steve?
Yeah, is there a reason the cooler building is separate? I mean, that's one of the issues, is it's separate, but not far enough apart.
yeah, so we've actually addressed that. So they have two configurations. So the cooler being separate is an operations thing, trying to keep the internal space because these are modular buildings. So they come in on the back of it's actually a pretty cool system. They ship it in and they drop it on a crane onto like a pad, almost like a Lego. And they look really nice. I have a material board here for you guys to look at if you'd like. So that's one of the reasons, is because they are prefabbed. But we've addressed that, and I have a version of that here. The other configuration is a stacked configuration where the cooler goes behind it and it is 10 feet away. So that's something we've addressed.
Yes, Joe?
So this is my understanding, but before I get to my understanding, my preface is that you're locating this at probably the busiest intersection in Farmington Hills, 12 Mile and Orchard Lake. Now, as I understand it, the stacking that you have up there, those measurements end to the east.
Yes.
And there's actually room for 10 more cars.
For sure, probably more.
So you can have, you say you can take care of 60 to 80 customers an hour.
Yeah.
And you can have, you've got room for 30 cars, and it only takes a couple of minutes each, unless given the location, I was very concerned about the stacking. This plan actually looks like the best plan with stacking anybody could come up with. And I absolutely hate drive-throughs, but I can't vote against something just because I hate drive-throughs. And I do like coffee, for the record.
Okay, I didn't know why you're shaking your head.
Yes, but I'm not missing anything.
No, you're not.
You got room for 30 cars.
Yeah, maybe more. We've got plenty of stacking. We meet DOT's stacking standards. You know, we're well over 400 feet from pickup to the right of way. And then another thing as well to note with kind of the circulation, we have the optimal counterclockwise circulation for the one-way, so traffic never is actually crossing on our site. So if you had a counterclockwise circulation, if we try to flip things around, there'd be some sort of conflict leaving the site. But as you can see, I know we have a tight turn coming out, and we'll make sure that that's adequate. But cars that are leaving the drive-through, you don't have to cross cars coming in, which is always a concern with drive-throughs.
Yes.
Is the plan to, coming out onto Orchard Lake, is it a right turn only, both turns? Because actually, I'd be more concerned about the stacking trying to get off the site than get the drinks.
Yeah, so we're maintaining the existing entrance. We're not changing any of the current turn patterns, but we'll work with, engineering staff.
Has there been a traffic study done?
No, we haven't done a traffic study here.
Because you know, compared to Arby's peak traffic doesn't start till lunchtime.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be peak traffic during rush hour in the morning, where most of the traffic's going south. Versus, I think most of Arby's, or at least a significant amount of Arby's traffic would probably be going north.
Yeah.
So my concern would be making a left when you've got that kind of volume.
Yeah.
I can't see how you're gonna have that flow through and the car's making a left, because you're gonna get one every minute or two coming to be able to make a left coming out of there. But that being said, you do have the access coming off onto 12 Mile. You could, if you only had a right turn only, they could come back through the site, go down to 12 Mile and make a right onto 12 Mile and get out that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now with the 2 left turn lanes on 12 Mile, it might be feasible, a little more feasible to do that.
Yeah, and one thing with this use, and as you can see by the business model, our target is repeat customers, with the phone app being the majority of how people are ordering. So with that being said, it's daily commuters. They understand the traffic patterns really well. It's something that when we do traffic studies, it's implemented in there, and you know, they understand if they can't make the left end, they'll go and find the easiest route to get there, because you know, commuters are busy. They're not going to sit there and wait, you know, 10 light cycles to try to make the left if they can just go up another 100 feet and kind of loop around the back. So,
Can you cross, when you come out on Orchard, can you cross, there's no barrier there, right there? Doesn't go up?
Barrier doesn't go up that far, so you could make a left out of there.
Okay.
And that's sort of, I think that'd be incredibly difficult
Oh, yeah.
in the morning.
definitely.
Yes.
And also, I just have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than coffee, what else do you serve as a tea? Because after a certain
yeah,
hour.
yep, absolutely.
have
So
other
there's
drinks.
coffees, teas, lemonades, energy fizzes. Like, it's just kind of that whole modern craze of drink offerings. Yeah, smoothies, I think, as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so in addition to being able to turn left onto southbound Orchard Lake from the exit, you can also enter by making from southbound Orchard Lake and make a left across the traffic as well. And I would think that would be almost where most of the traffic would be coming from, because the Orchard Lake is the West Bloomfield Expressway. So, you know, for them to get to 696. So, how does the rear exit supposed to work?
Yep. So again, it's one-way circulation. So if you're gonna, you know, go out to get to 12 Mile, you would just recircle the site and then exit before the stacking. You know, and then there's cross-access south through there's that rear parking lot, and then when there's cross-access, you keep going through south.
So you'd actually go through, get your coffee.
Yep.
And you would go back through the beginning of the southern side, right? Which is only one lane, right?
Yes. But we don't anticipate stacking that lane. That's not part of our technical stacking lanes. And like I said, even on the, you know, busiest days, we only need 16 to 17 stacks, and we've got 21 there. You know, if anything ever spilled over, it would be, you know.
I'm not literally suggesting that it would, but you could literally lock it up.
You are correct. It could get blocked for a portion of time, but we don't anticipate that happening in the studies that we've done.
But you also have, if you're coming off of 12, because if you're from the area, you know that shortcut, you can come off of 12 through where the, you know, the gas station is that has the restaurant, that back way into the restaurant. So then if someone coming back through that way, trying to get into the front.
Yeah, there's, you know, it depends on how many cars are stacked there. Again, that center lane is just striping for employees to walk to make deliveries, so it's not like curbed or anything. So, I mean, if we had all 21 cars stacked and somebody's trying to come in that back way, then they could just take the bypass lane around or wait to you know, queue in.
Is that back parking still empty and?
Yeah, it's not part of our parcel. It's separate from what I know. It's still just an empty parking lot.
I have a question for the attorney. Can they just continue to use that, or do they need a cross easement to go from their lot to the lot to the east? Because it says right here, existing to remain, access to remain. Does that mean that there was an easement at some point?
That may be a question we have to ask the engineers, but
Are you aware of any?
it's there on the
Can
plan.
you see what I'm talking about on the eastern border? Where it starts saying limit of proposed concrete curb, and then 2 down from that says existing cross access to remain. And we've been through this before. You have to, you and the owner have to come in agreement to.
Understood.
make it work.
Yeah, we were just maintaining what was out there because we didn't want to if other people had rights to,
But the question is, did Arby's and the current owner of this side, this easterly property,
we'll
have an
review,
easement?
we'll review the title.
And will the new owner to the east allow you to continue using it?
So all that'll be part of the engineering review, and my guess is that there's some documentation, but it'll get reviewed.
Been there a long time.
Yep.
Okay. Barry?
The comment I wanted to make is, since my office is over there, and I have to suffer through the whole redo, and then they're doing something else now, they actually did, they put up a bigger barrier there for the left turn lane, and it ends before the left turn into the Arby's parking lot, or 7 Brews parking lot. So there is a lane there to make a left into that, and it's not blockaded by the barrier that was put in when they made the left turn lane.
You're talking about on the street.
On Orchard Lake Road,
No, this is at the other end.
they have an island there
No.
before you get into the left turn lane. And that island ends before the entranceway to this lot, because I've been looking at it, because what has previously been stated, I know people are gonna be making left turns into that thing. Making left turns in is not the hard part, because you have all the lights that stop traffic. It's making the left turn out that's that'll be more of the fun thing. But my question to you is the location of the coffee distribution point.
Yes.
Where is that
Yep.
compared to where the current Arby's building is? Because the Arby's building is really far back from the road.
Yeah, I think
Is this gonna be a lot closer to Orchard Lake Road?
yeah, it's gonna be closer to Orchard Lake Road. We meet all the setback requirements.
But in any event, the Arby's building sits way back.
Yeah,
And that parking lot behind it has been basically, no one maintains it. It's a pothole looking for a place to live. Right.
yeah.
And, but I know I've cut through that one a few times too, because there's other businesses around there. But, I see what you're trying to do. And the other point I wanted to bring out is that Arby's only had 1 lane.
Yep.
And they never had a stacking problem, because again, they were further away from the road than you're proposing, so there was less of a lane to go into. And they only had 1 menu place to go through, and they had 2 windows, one to pay and one to pick up your stuff. But that doesn't bother me so much. It's more the thing that bothers me is we have a strange ordinance dealing with drive-throughs, and that will ask Mr. Tangieri about.
Yeah. So again, no menu boards here, which again, our customer base is, repeat daily commuters is the primary base there. And, they know their order, you scan a QR code or you do it on an app, and, it members you and says reorder.
The other thing that should be taken into consideration, that the Starbucks across the street has a really screwed up queue.
Yep.
Yours is a lot more sophisticated than theirs is, and I think they only have a one lane situation, but it backs into the parking lot. But I've never, having drive by it all the time, I've never seen them stacking that far up.
Yeah, a lot of coffee users, are trying to amend things on the fly now that the customer base is changing their habits of, they just want to get it and leave. And
I don't drink coffee.
There's my non-coffee drinker.
So it sounds like you kind of targeting the younger generation,
Absolutely. I mean,
Younger than him.
my generation.
I'm older than you.
Yes.
But it sounds like a combination of a Chick-fil-A and a Sonic type.
it has a lot of the elements of,
Combination, yeah.
you know, it's a newer company. It was founded in 2017, and it's taken a lot of elements of, you know, what has made other fast food and, you know, quick service restaurants successful with how do you optimize ordering, how do you optimize delivery, how do you optimize site circulation, and kind of take some of the, you know, customer error out of it, you know.
Where are you based out of?
They're based out of Arkansas, but they've expanded very rapidly, and they're just coming into Michigan. The first one opened in Allen Park 3-4 months ago in Southeast Michigan. First one in Southeast Michigan. There was a couple over in Traverse City area, and but there's going to be another, you know, 5 or 6 opening, you know, early 2026, and they there's definitely a need, you know, to kind of provide a smaller footprint coffee user, because that's the other, you know, piece of the puzzle here is they can go in a lot of lots and areas, and with the efficiency, they don't need a lot of space and building size. That
No coming in and sitting down.
no coming in, sitting down, and I can address that too, because I know there's 2 comments in the letter. So we understand we do need a variance for indoor seating, I think is a requirement. We'll apply for that. And the other one is an outdoor seating is a waiver request, I believe. I'll defer to staff to make sure I have that right. But again, like I said, you know, we're more of an automotive-oriented ordering system. And like I said, in colder weather and not super residential areas, kind of in these busy streets, we don't really anticipate having any people try to walk up and order, let alone need to sit down and drink their coffee, you know, especially when people are on the go. So, you know, that is a request that's being made as part of this application, and then we will get the variance for the lack of indoor seating as a requirement as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Because we still have Joe.
It's actually me tonight.
Okay.
So as the applicant mentioned, they're looking to demolish the existing building and construct 2 new structures. One is a 510 square foot coffee drive-through, and then an accessory structure for their cooler. The parking lot is also proposed to be redesigned to accommodate 2 drive-through lanes and the 6 parking spaces that you guys see in front of you. The site is zoned B3 and is surrounded by other B3 or B4, and across the street is OS2. The site has primary access from Orchard Lake, and as you guys mentioned, it also has access to the Shell gas station and their then 12 Mile. The applicant's looking for a drive-through restaurant, and it's a special land use. The proposed application does meet all of the dimensional standards for the B3 district. However, as far as off-street parking or off-street loading goes, the loading requirement is based on the frontage of the building, which in this circumstance is only 15.7 feet. So 157 square feet of loading is the requirement. That's smaller than a parking space. They didn't provide a loading space, so the Planning Commission may wish to discuss whether 157 square feet would be sufficient, or if they'd rather see 200 square feet, which would be at least the size of a parking space. We did ask for some clarification about their ice condenser, which they mentioned in the application. But moving on to the use-specific standards for drive-through restaurants, and as mentioned by the applicant, there is a requirement for indoor seating for 20 people, and that standard is not being met, as well as the outdoor seating requirement for at least 6 seats, which the outdoor seating one is eligible for a waiver from the Planning Commission. As far as off-street parking goes, they are, sorry, I skipped the dumpster, but the dumpster is compliant. And as far as off-street parking goes, the spaces that were provided are compliant. but it's based on the number of employees. If any seating was added to the building to meet that standard, they would need to provide additional parking spaces. As far as the drive-through requirements go, they meet all of the standards except for the turning radius needs to be demonstrated on the plans. As far as signs go, we did note several compliance issues with the sign, and the applicant can follow up on whether they're seeking to pursue variance for the signs or if they will bring them into compliance. As far as the landscaping goes, I'm sorry, it's scrolling too quickly. As far as the landscaping goes, they didn't provide the tree inventory, which is required. There are only 3 large deciduous trees that were provided around the parking lot perimeter. The applicant did count 5 existing trees towards their parking lot requirement. Typically, these are supposed to be deciduous trees, but the Planning Commission may accept the evergreen trees that they counted. However, it is important to consider that those trees are all grouped in the rear of the parking area and that they're not distributed throughout the paved area. I believe all of the other landscaping standards were met, except for there is some screening south of the pedestrian pathway, and the Planning Commission may wish to discuss whether or not that is sufficient. As far as the lighting goes, there was significant information missing from the plans, including the minimum, maximum, and lumen calculations. So we weren't able to review compliance with those illumination requirements. In addition, the height of the fixtures and the hours of operation were not provided, and the building elevation photometrics were not shown. Generally, just looking for additional information regarding the lighting for this site before we can provide thorough comments to the Planning Commission. So if the applicant is going to seek any waivers for lighting, they would need to make sure that they're approved by the Planning Commission at a future time. As far as the design standards go, I'm so sorry, I did skip the accessory structures, and I did want to make sure to note that the proposed accessory structure has a separation distance that doesn't meet the 10-foot required separation distance for accessory structures. And so that structure should either be relocated or a variance is required. And then to finish, we did review the design standards. I noticed that the elevation drawings weren't in the packet that was provided to the Planning Commission, but there was a set of elevation drawings that was submitted with the application. The only issue that we noted in our review letter is that there wasn't fenestration provided on that cooler building. And the Planning Commission may grant relief for fenestration. However, given the spacing issues too, we recommend that be relocated to the rear of the site, so as to both improve the overall look of the frontage and meet the compliance for the separation. A pedestrian connection was provided to Orchard Lake Road, and there is an internal pedestrian connection, so they meet all of the requirements for pedestrian connections. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Go. Well, my question, why does our ordinance require indoor seating? Do you know?
In the 70s.
My guess is that it had to do with trying to reduce having very auto-oriented uses.
That's my guess too. And why do you think we have, what is it, a distance requirement for outbuildings?
That's generally for fire safety.
for fire safety. You know, if you get a variance, you're supposed to need a practical difficulty that has to do with the lot shape and size. It's not a, oh, we like it kind of criteria. So I thought I'd ask those questions. And thank you.
Anyone else? Barry?
Does anybody know who owns the parking lot behind that building and adjacent to the other? I mean, you have Discount Tire over there, you have the Uncle Ed's oil change, and you have that parking lot, and I assume it's probably zoned just parking as opposed to any other use, and it just kind of sits there and very rarely used, and it's not maintained at all. Does anybody know who owns it?
I believe it's part of the gas station's parcel.
It was part of the, it was Ruby Tuesday parking, so.
It was Ruby Tuesdays.
Yeah, it was the front of Ruby Tuesday.
It's
faced that
owned.
direction, And you could park that way.
Yeah.
And I know this because once Ruby Tuesday was closed or gone or whatever, I got in trouble from coming into the back entrance and pulling right into the Arby's drive-through, right to the microphone, and some lady honking at me because she was sure that the rules said that she had the right of way coming around the other driveway. I think I was probably Arby's most significant customer for the past 5 years.
What are you gonna do?
Not good enough, Eric.
I was just curious because that might be something they might want to look into, and I gotta assume there's some easements over there for the people in the Arby's and the whole Ruby Tuesdays or whatever that thing is.
There's an additional parking lot that is now chained off and non-maintained.
Oh.
And that's behind Discount Tire.
It's the one right behind the Arby's.
Yeah, this.
No, that's behind the Arby's, but it's behind another parking lot behind the Arby's, so. Here it is. Right, so.
Yeah, well, I guess then it looks like they're
This is
actually,
the decrepit.
they're moving things further back to get their.
Used to be able to exit there onto Greening.
The lane.
It's blocked off here, and I don't think it has access to
You have nothing to do with that parking.
Remember, I've been here 15
You have
years.
nothing to do with that
So-
area,
so
right?
it's not-
You're
it's not
that's
useful for
not-
us.
Not on our property.
They moved the thing up forward, the parking in the back. That's,
Anyone else have a question? Dale?
see, it's a P1.
Mr. Chair, other than the kind of the administrative issues that on site plans that could be addressed, whatever, my two, as it relates to special use approval, is condition number 2. Proposed use will not make vehicular or pedestrian traffic more hazardous than normal for the district. I have a concern there. I know a traffic study hasn't been done yet, but I'm not comfortable right now. I like the plan, I like the stacking, I like the circulation. But given Orchard Lake Road and the condition we all know that it poses, I'd like to see more thought and more analysis of that. And also the issue of the use of proposed seating. This doesn't have seating, and how our ordinance will, and how the ZBA will even consider a variance request regarding a proposed restaurant without seating. Is that something the ZBA is going to want to think about, or we're going to want to think about in terms of the ordinance? So I think there are some outstanding issues, like administrative issues, that are probably easy, and we could probably move it on. But I'd like to see more information as it relates to Orchard Lake Road, access in and out, and also the secondary, the issue of the non-seating and the restaurant as it relates to our ordinance.
Okay, well, we still have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, we still have that.
Yeah, I'm just laying out.
Okay.
Could I add one more thing for consideration is, I'd be interested to know if the proponent has already fully dismissed the stacking option that you talked about with the freezer building behind the, or in.
We've already made that change. We moved the cooler behind the building, 10 feet away.
Okay.
We weren't allowed to submit it previously to the meeting, but we've already discussed that.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the configuration we're moving forward with.
I guess I should have known that, my mistake.
Barry?
The comment that I like to make is that we as a commission have been talking for a long time about doing something about the drive-through ordinance, because it's so last century, but it was set up That was 25 years ago. The thing is that we never done anything to change the drive-through ordinance to match what the real world is like now, as opposed to when they wrote that was probably in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I think that's something we should be taking up later on. This is an unusual design situation, but I don't like the concept that, and I know that the concept was, and I think our attorney said it, was that they wanted to, they were trying to make sure that even if you have a drive-through, you had people in the restaurant, and that's just not the way the world turns these days, and I think it's stopped certain businesses from coming into our town because we're not allowing them to have drive-throughs, and I think the world has gone to drive-throughs. That's the way it is. So maybe we have to take it from an old guy. We've had to modernize that particular ordinance, is my particular feeling, but.
First of all, I'm not sure that that was written 25 years ago. I think it's much more recent than that. And I don't think it's old school to promote community when it comes to urban planning. That's not some dinosaur kind of thought process. And that is the reason for that requirement. I think you're right. We should revisit this. I do realize the way the market forces are going, but I also realize that community is still important, and it's something we should talk about in a different forum.
Yes.
Okay?
Well,
Angie?
what this gentleman is saying, that his target market are for the younger ones, and the younger folks, they're not into community and sitting down. I mean, some are, you know, you go to Starbucks, you sit and work on your computer, but they're like an in and out, quick, that's what they want to do. And so they're not targeting the older population. So we do have to be open, and that's all they want to do. They're not trying to come in, and they're not trying to sit down. So
But our ordinances are what our ordinances are right now.
I'm just
And
discussion.
we need to
Yeah, it's a discussion.
discuss, maybe we should even bring some young people in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of people over 50 talk about this, about what the young people want. Yeah.
And, you know, they're part of the community as well.
Yeah.
Farmington Hills is an older community.
Anyways,
Do you want to hear from the public tonight?
I'd like to hear from some young people out
Yeah,
there.
all right.
Yeah.
Are you guys out there?
No.
John?
We have coffee drinkers here.
Okay, I'm going to open the
Oh,
public.
could I, I'm sorry, you're opening it to the public? Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, I was going to point out that in the correspondence folder, there is a letter regarding this site from an adjacent property owner.
Okay. Thank you. Who's doing it?
No, public hearing open?
You didn't? Okay.
Anybody want?
You can sit down, and anybody who wants to talk on this subject, I'm opening the public hearing.
Good evening. My name is David Elkis. I'm the property owner and business owner next door, just what direction am I going? South of the proposed site. I say we, our tailor shop also feels the same way. It's a different owner. Have a couple different issues with this proposed use and plan. As you guys have already gone through, the traffic issues on Orchard Lake Road as well as 12 Mile Road are going to become an issue. Certainly left turns out of the site and left turns into the site, crossing over each other, are going to be a likely problem, although good business for a bump shop. I'd also add left turns into the gas station through the double westbound 12 Mile Road side will also become a problem for traffic flow. For our case in particular, and the other reason why I'm here to discuss it, we have a cross easement with this building as well as with the gas station. When the gas station was proposed, we had complained about people turning into our lot to get into the gas station. We were told at the zoning board that it wouldn't be an issue, that the island in the middle of Orchard Lake Road would prevent that, and there should be no turns coming through. I don't think an hour goes by without cars coming through our lot on their way into or out of the gas station. Adding a high-traffic restaurant or coffee shop right next door is only going to exacerbate the problem. Proponent just noted that these drivers find their way the easiest way possible, and that's very likely going to be through our lot. I've detailed all of this in the letter that's been included with your packet, as well as the litany of different issues that other communities have had with high-traffic 7 Bruce sites. I think it's all well laid out here. I'm happy to answer any questions about for our purposes, but it's going to cause a problem for us. It's a foreseeable problem for our traffic to get in as well as out through the easements, as well as to Orchard Lake with it getting stacked up with cars coming in.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to speak on this topic? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Back to the commission. Yes.
So, just a comment in terms of your process. I know that some of the members on the commission who've been here for a while will remember a time whenever there was a zoning board of appeals variance required, the planning commission would just deny, have the applicant go to the ZBA, and then come back if they managed to get relief from the ZBA. Commission got away from that on purpose to be a little bit more developer friendly. And I think that's a good thing. So what I'm about to say isn't a comment on the plan at all. The 1,100 square foot requirement is part of the requirement for the use. And there is a chance that when they go to the ZBA, they're going to need to get a use variance, which, as commission knows, might require a bit higher standard of proof, might be a little tougher for them to get. Because of that, it seems like this might be a candidate for, you give them their denial because they need 2 variances. They need that one, and they need the distance variance for the cooler. Let them go to the ZBA, and if the ZBA says we like this use and gives them the variance, they can come back here, and by then, hopefully, they will have addressed some of the issues that Member Cownigan pointed out. It's a suggestion.
Didn't you say you already moved the?
We moved, we're not seeking the cooler
Okay,
variance,
all right.
only the indoor
All
seating.
set. But that is a significant one, and that's there intentionally, and I think the ZBA is gonna have to deal with it.
Discussion?
Yes, to Tom's comments, from my standpoint, we have moved them along a lot of times because it's like they're minor kind of administrative, you got to submit this, you got to submit that, and we didn't want to hold it up because we all said, okay, that's the plan. It seems like the developers got to get with staff and get their stuff together. For me, in addition to the square footage requirement, is circulation and seeing more information about access, ingress, egress into that site. So I think that's fundamental. It's more than just some details on a plan that are absent. I think it's something that the Planning Commission should request before we move it on. Because we have to, it is a special approval through our review that it's got to make sure we're not creating a more dangerous situation for the motoring public or for pedestrians. So I think what Tom's outlined is kind of a good way that they can keep going through the process, and that gives them time to get more information after having this meeting, hearing what our issues are, so you can prepare when you come back to see us. So that's why I would not probably be in favor of voting to move this on tonight. I probably would say we should deny it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I stand by what I said earlier in that for what this is really well designed.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. Actually, very good stacking.
Very well designed.
Right.
However, I also stand by the fact that I don't like just drive-throughs. And gee, I got an ordinance that says you're supposed to have some indoor seating. So on top of that, the second criteria for the special approval is that the proposed use will not make vehicular traffic more dangerous. And I don't think that's been demonstrated. I share the concerns of the gentleman who came up, and a couple of the commissioners pointed this out with the left turns and everything. So I could not support passing this tonight, approving this tonight.
Okay, anyone else? Ready for a motion?
It could just be as simple as move to deny because to let them get their zoning board of appeals hearing and continue the process.
Make that motion? Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I move that the application for special approval site plan 6710, 2025, dated October 10th, 2025, submitted by Brutopia Michigan LLC be denied because it does not appear to meet all applicable requirements of the zoning chapter and the standards for the special approval uses set forth in section 34-6.3. And the denial is based on the following determinations, based on zoning board approval or zoning board
Determination that a zoning board of appeals variance is required for the 1,100 square foot of seating.
what Tom just said.
Yes.
Is there support?
Support.
Yeah.
What do you want me to add? And number two?
I guess, yeah, as it relates to number two.
As
I'm
it relates to
specifically
number
interested in, additional information, traffic study, or whatever study that needs to be done to demonstrate that we're
Will
not
not.
making it more
Exacerbate number two, yeah.
dangerous,
It says more hazardous.
more hazardous.
This is the term.
Okay? Those
That
two.
is normal.
DBA determination and special consideration number two.
That it's not hazardous. We're not creating a hazardous situation. Cheryl, Steve, seconded it.
Okay. Barry?
I'm not opposed to the use that you're proposing. It looks like a very interesting idea for a very narrow lot. The thing is that we're put in a position as the planning commission that we cannot approve something that doesn't meet ordinance. And so
Understood.
if you don't meet ordinance, then our job is to say, no, go see if you can get a variance, and then we can take a look at it later on. This will also give you an opportunity to bring in the new plans to show that you're moving the freezer, so it's far enough away, and then and that will meet ordinance. But, I mean, don't mind what you're doing, but the thing is, we don't really have the authority to approve it because.
Understood.
Very.
No, we'll go seek our variance. I appreciate the candid conversation. I love a board that, gives their blunt opinion and lets us have an opportunity to, get things sorted out and come back to you guys with a more polished plan that you guys are more comfortable with.
Yeah, well, the thing is, as someone who'd gone to the neighbor's building there to get my suits fitted, and being on Orchard Lake Road, I don't like to see vacant property, and I like to see everything being used, and I'd like to see, we have a problem with not enough restaurants in this town anyway, so that's another thing. But, fix it, bring it back.
Absolutely. We will certainly do
I
that.
need your name, actually, so.
Yeah, no problem. It's Reed, R-E-I-D, last name Cooksey, C-O-O-K-S-E-Y.
Get the vote on.
And you are from,
Stonefield Engineering and Design.
okay.
We need to vote, yeah.
Yeah, I know. We need to vote, folks. We haven't voted yet.
Yeah.
You haven't voted yet.
Mr. Trefler, before we vote,
Yes.
can I ask a question
Move
of council,
second. Now
please?
we go. Call the vote.
I don't think you said one way or the other whether this will require a non-use variance or a use variance, or several use variances, right? I'm sorry. several non-use variances or one use variance. Could you maybe, for the benefit of the proponent even, could you maybe elaborate on the differences between the standard and the number of votes that are necessary for, to grant a use variance is a higher standard and takes more votes and a higher percentage of the board.
So the Planning Commission has gotten the training on the difference between a non-use or dimensional variance, which is the practical difficulty standard, which is the lesser standard that looks at whether or not they're applying the ordinance as written, basically causes an undue burden upon the property owner and potentially the neighbors. A use variance, and I didn't give an opinion yet as to which it is, but assume it's a use variance, is a higher standard called the unnecessary hardship standard, which essentially has this, the ZBA essentially looks more closely at the question, can the property be used for any purpose without a use variance? So it's a high burden, but you know, the applicant will get his chance to make that. And with a use variance, yes, it does require a supermajority of votes as opposed to a simple.
So as I recall from the ZBA.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was, with a 7-member zoning board of appeals, a majority vote would be four votes, four affirmative votes for a non-use variance. And for a use variance, you require a supermajority, which ends up being 5 of.
Correct.
And you also have to have all those, you have to have enough members present. If the board is short or whatever else, you have to get 5 out of 6 or 5 out of 5.
And again, just to be clear, expressing no opinion on what the ZBA ought to do, it just seemed that this is one where you might want to wait for them to do it first, whatever it is they decide to do.
Okay. Cheryl, would you call the roll on this vote, please?
Commissioner Aspinall,
I'm saying yay to the denial.
Brickner,
Yes.
Conigan,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Lindquist,
Aye.
Manti,
Yes.
Stimson,
Yay.
and Chair Treflet.
Yeah, yes.
Appreciate your guys' time. Have a great holiday.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is site plan approval, 6811-2025. The address is 45535 Hallwood Road, for an addition to an existing granite and cabinet shop within the L1 district.
Yes. Typically, we go to the
That's you.
planner first, yeah, so I can go ahead. As you can see from the map on the screen, Hallwood Court is a little industrial cul-de-sac between Halsted and M5. And this is kind of at the bend in that road. It extends down and it's sort of like a pointed at the back type property. Zoned LI1 light industrial, a little over 2 acres. And there's an existing 26,000 square foot building on that property. It's surrounded by other industrial zoning except for M5, which is to the west and south. So they're proposing to, there's still going to be access from Hallwood Court up front. It's really the only place to access the property. And what they're proposing to do is expand an existing granite and cabinet shop. And they're going to add 9,829 square feet. This is a permitted use in the district. They meet the dimensional standards of the district. We note that they did not identify any outdoor storage on the plan. It would have to occur in the rear yard if any outdoor storage was going to occur. Rooftop equipment, there was no indication of any screening there. There is an unscreened unit at the front of the building, so there's some work to do there. A landscape plan wasn't provided, so we weren't able to review a landscape plan. The area between the building and M5, where we would normally require like a hedge or something to go between the site and a public right-of-way, there's a 20-foot storm sewer easement. You can't plant any trees there. The site does have extensive vegetation between it and M5, though, so I just wanted to make that note that there's a lot there right now, so adding a hedge would be kind of pointless. Moving on to parking. We found that they're a little over the requirement. You can approve up to 20% additional spaces beyond the minimum required. They did not provide the number of employees. There's an either/or standard, so we did the calculation for the floor area standard, but we didn't have an employee number to go off of to compare which one would be the controlling number here. Dimensions for the parking spaces weren't provided, so those will need to be added to the plans to verify that they're compliant. Again, we did not receive a landscape plan. Looking at lighting, we had some issues with the lighting plan. There was some information that was not provided, and that's all detailed in the letter. We also noted that the pole-mounted fixtures appear to be compliant with cutoff requirements, but the wall-mounted fixtures are not, so a different fixture will need to be chosen there. And that was the extent of our comments. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Guess not. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Rod Samona. I'm the contractor for the job.
Yeah, Adnan Alsati, the project engineer.
Okay.
Basically, what we're doing here, we're just expanding the building. We're doing an addition. The addition is only going to be used for, they normally get more inventory for a granite. And the granite is not like an item that can sell fast, so you need more space to store it. And this space is going to be more for storage than more sell. So they have a sales area, they have storage in this big building too, but this is just an addition to keep everything inside the building. And they do sell to other retailers from their own location, so they have to have enough inventory in stock. And that's the reason. And the inventory comes in once every 3 months, so they have to have enough inventory to sell to get the next inventory shipment. That's why they need more space. And they're gonna keep, the building's gonna be all masonry with, they're gonna keep up with all the drive for the fire department truck and everything. They're gonna maintain the detention, which is existing, which is been like unmaintained for a long time, can't even see it from all the debris and trees and greens. Now, if you go there, you might not see it, but they will maintain it, and they're gonna have a contract where they're gonna have it maintained annually or stuff like that. And for the lighting, they're gonna have, I mean, the place closes at 5 o'clock, they leave 5:30. The only light they're gonna have to illuminate the parking lot during the nighttime and goes off by itself automatically. Landscaping, there's not much of a landscaping because all like concrete sidewalk and stuff like that. If there's any area there's an island, they will put some shrubs and trees and greenery.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
Is this the building that the Goodfellows operates out of?
Pardon?
Is this where the Farmington Goodfellows operates out of?
The location you're talking about?
Yeah. Is this where they use this?
I think it's through, you have entered from Holstead, I think from Holstead.
Oh.
Yeah, Halsted, yeah.
From Holstead, the called Holbrook or Holwood Road.
Yeah, Homewood
And the whole site is industrial, and the back of the building is M5. And there's two industrial building on each side of the property.
Goodfellas might be that.
Any other questions?
And they have more, their parking lot is more than what's proposed, basically. So enough parking for everybody.
Okay.
On this one.
What's there now?
Same business.
No. In the area that you're
It's
building,
just a backyard area. It's just.
there's no parking there, nothing like that?
No,
No,
it's,
no, no, we're not
it's
taking any
like
parking.
brush,
Okay.
like
So-
vegetation,
You're not eliminating parking, you're just filling in empty space?
we're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So engineering will probably have to look at that for greater capacity for retention, if you're gonna make it hard surface versus grass. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we will evaluate the drainage system and make sure that the existing sewer will accommodate the addition.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're dealing with the city engineer, so.
It's a fun
You're
experience.
working with the city.
Dealing with.
Dealing with it. He was right the first time.
We're working with him.
Okay, any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Back to the commission. Anybody want to make a?
I have no problem with this. The thing is, the only problem we have is filling in what Giffel Webster said, put in there. I move that the application for special approval site plan 67-10-2025 dated October 10th, 2025, submitted by.
No,
Bruce.
very,
No, that's
very
the wrong
stuff,
one.
very stuff.
Whoa. Oh, geez, I don't know where you're reading that one. I gotta go find the right one. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Was this an approval? A conditional approval?
It's the one that doesn't have the, yeah, it's 6811-2025.
Right.
At the top.
I move that the application for site plan approval 68/11/2025 dated August 4th, 2025, as revised October 27th, 2025, submitted by A.R. Simona Construction be approved because it appears to meet all the applicable requirements of the zoning chapter, subject to the following conditions and determinations. All outstanding issues identified in the Giffords-Webster December 5th, 2025 review shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the city planner. All outstanding issues identified in the city engineer's December 2nd, 2025 inter-office correspondence shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the city engineer, and all outstanding issues identified in the fire marshal's November 20th, 2025 inter-office correspondence shall be addressed to the reasonable satisfaction of the fire marshal. A photometric plan is required and must comply with standards contained in section 34-5.16. Landscape plan is required and must comply with the standards contained in section 34-5.14. The 22 parking spaces provided is adequate for the use proposed. Rooftop mechanical equipment must be screened as required, and that's it.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from November 20th.
Motion to approve
You
November 20th, 2025 regular.
making the motion, you seconding?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Cheryl, you got that?
Grant and Conigan?
Yes. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. There's nobody left to the public to do public comment. Commissioner comments. Yes, I know. Go ahead.
January meetings. We usually have a second meeting in January.
Last week.
And so what are the proposed dates for, we have our regular meeting, but when are you thinking of having the briefing on the capital improvement plan? Will that be the 4th, or There's a 5th Thursday in January.
It will be January 22nd.
Good.
That work?
That works great.
That's the capital expenditure.
That's a capital improvement
Capital
plan.
expenditures.
15 and 22?
Correct. The regular meeting will be the 15th. The capital improvement plan will be discussed January 22nd, and that meeting would start at 6. The 22nd.
And what's on the menu?
Surprise.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing left was the motion to adjourn.
Oh, wait, Commissioner comments?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do that?
Joe, everybody have a very merry, happy holiday for those, no, I'm the only one here, I think, that's Jewish. I'm missing Hanukkah right now. Everybody else? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, see you next year. Have fun.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Eric, do you have anything?
And don't forget to get your calendars.
I have them. I have them.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Gift for you guys.
Thank you.
Ditto on the holidays. I was wondering if staff could draft an ordinance that would address that issue with the restaurants requiring seating for us to look at maybe in case it comes back. Because if we're gonna be like current, that, you know, maybe that thing should be looked at.
I'm not jumping on it that fast. I think we should have a theoretical discussion and give them some guidance. That's what I think. That's the normal standard. You don't just jump in to change it the way I want it, and then let's talk about it.
Well, I'm not saying change the way you want it. I really don't.
I know you're not saying change it the way I want it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, would it be worthwhile to at least look at a draft or look at the ordinance and have some sort of discussion about what you see in other communities? Is that allowed or whatever? Given that, oh, thank you. Given that this is gonna probably come back to us maybe? And that we'll have some sort of direction, or is that gonna reveal our hand too much? We're not going to do that.
It seems to me that there needs to be a new category. That's not a restaurant. It's just not a restaurant.
Right, we said restaurant.
It's a kiosk, a drive-through kiosk, and
Like that.
there's no seating, there's no run activity, there's no
Would the
seating, there's no
normal
parking.
course be to raise that at a study session and then get the direction in a more formal way?
That's fine. Mr. Conigan's just suggesting that, under Commissioner comments right now, there's nothing fussing about it.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there in case somebody wants to say, maybe we should think about it. Because we may see more of these, and maybe we should be more agile. It won't require a bunch of study sessions and say, okay, what do we think?
And I was thinking, if it's an Arby's and they have a sit-down in there as it is and it didn't survive, who's to say the next sit-down will survive there?
Exactly. So, but then once you figure out that, and then you gotta get cars in and out safely. That's the next challenge.
That Starbucks, their coffee, their curb cuts are across from each other.
They're gonna steal customers. It's gonna be a battle. Good thing I don't drink coffee.
Okay, just for what it's worth, for
Right?
staff to think about.
So everybody going south or go to one, and everybody going to.
Happy holidays.
So make your own coffee, friends.
You're welcome.
I don't know.
I have one for you guys too.
Okay, so I move that we adjourn.
Wait, Steve,
Do you have a question?
I already made my.
These are?
Also, that facility is one of those drop containers, those
Modular.
smart, yeah, is that something, I mean, that's new.
Did anybody even
I
ask?
don't know that it's necessarily a container,
Oh,
but
it's
it's a
from Canada?
prefab building.
Yeah, but
I have a
are they
feeling it's gonna
metal, or are
be
they-
one of those containers.
Happy holiday.
That's what they're doing
Julio
now.
will get mad if it's all metal.
7 Mile and,
I missed it.
Oh, if they just drop them like a container, it's all made out of metal.
We adjourned?
Watching you.
Well, we adjourn. I guess it's okay as long as it's not.
Okay, bye.
I didn't hear about.
People talking.